Saturday was the deadline for NFL teams to cut down their rosters to 53, and we were all anxious to hear what would happen with Tim Tebow and the Eagles, especially Stephen A. Despite playing fairly well in his final game versus the Jets, completing 11 of 17 passes for 189 yards and 2 TDs, Tebow was released. Skip, is this the end of Tebow's time in the NFL?
Stephen A. Smith, that all depends on whether Tim Tebow decides to listen to some in his inner circle who believe he should go and play in Canada. Because it now appears to me that this CFL is his last hurrah. And yet, before I get into the particulars of that, allow me to say I'm so happy now that I don't have to root for Chip Kelly this year. Listen, Chip Kelly, what a snake in the grass he was in the end to Tim Tebow. After all the proclamations about how much he loved him and this is his guy and wants him on his football team and the it factor and this and that and blah, 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 blah. What did Chip Kelly do after he surprised many people out there, not just me? I think most people were stunned that he whacked Tim Tebow, cut him, and as Tim is walking out the back door, he kicked him in the behind by signing Stephen Morris off the waiver wire, who had just been cut by the Jacksonville Jaguars, who kept Bortles and Chad Henne. So Stephen Morris couldn't even make that team, and Chip Kelly signed him and kept him on the 53-man roster. Are you kidding me? A second-year guy, undrafted free agent last year, in place of Tim Tebow. Are you kidding me? What an insult that was to Tim Tebow, especially after the way Tebow played. And unfortunately, you weren't around then, but his last preseason game, Tim Tebow, he showed out. He was pretty good that game.
Read the numbers.
And he did, you did. And he got to play in the second quarter, albeit against second-teamers, and the fourth quarter. But the 10 out of 19's a little diluted because there were 3 big drops in that game. And he threw 2 beautiful down-the-field footballs that started to look a little bit like the old unleashed Tim Tebow. He started to get a little swagger, a little rhythm, a little flow, a little momentum. We know how his emotions can carry a whole football team. And I'm thinking, okay, under huge pressure, last hurrah, last-ditch effort, he put it on the table and said, here, Chip Kelly, I've come this far. And Chip said, well, you know, he just hasn't had enough reps. So to me, just to kick Chip Kelly back in the butt, why shouldn't Tim just go on to Canada then? He's going to have to swallow a whole lot of pride because obviously he did win a Heisman Trophy and he did have an unbelievable 2011 run as a starting National Football League quarterback for the Denver Broncos, from 1-4 to a division title and a playoff game win over your Pittsburgh Steelers. You will remember it for the rest of your life. Despite all that, you swallow your pride, you go to Canada, and you get your reps. The great Warren Moon had to go to Canada to get his reps and show the NFL what it was missing. Doug Flutie, who became a pretty good NFL quarterback, had to go to Canada and show the NFL that he wasn't too little to make it in the National Football League. So maybe it's time, and trust me, some in the inner circle are really pushing Tim, who's pushing back. He does not want to go. He's made it clear from the start, I do not want to play Canadian League football. No, no disrespect to them. It's just that Tim thinks he belongs in the National Football League. So when his last hurrah coach, Chip Kelly, said no, and I'm signing Stephen Morris and put him on my 53-man roster, maybe you should just get angry, Tim. Maybe you should say, watch this, because TV is always going to be there for Tim Tebow. I think he proved himself well enough on this network, wouldn't you say, for his, was it a year he was here? Okay, he can always go back. He just turned 28 years of age, so Tim, just do it. Go to Canada, show them, get your reps in, Chip Kelly, and then maybe someplace, somewhere, sometime, somebody will say, you know what? I need that on my football team. I need that guy in my locker room. I need him to run certain plays for me. Or I need him to start for me. By the end of the year, I'm sure a lot of people will say, God, our quarterback situation is dreadful. Go to Canada and show them, Tim, because I think that's the last hope.
You know, you really crossed the line on this.
Chip Kelly.
Let me tell you something.
What did Chip Kelly do to Deshaun? What did he do to LaShawn?
Let me tell you something right now.
Yeah.
If I hadn't just gotten off vacation, I'd have walked off the set with that ridiculous drivel you just did.
I thought it was
damn diatribe. I'm so disgusted with you right now. You actually put me in a position where I have to defend Chip Kelly.
Yes.
That's where you put me in.
Well, don't.
I have to to because that's a bunch of nonsense that just came out of your mouth. What do you mean stabbed him in the back?
You're going to defend Chip Kelly?
I have to defend Chip Kelly because I'm a fair-minded man.
Morris?
And all the stuff that I feel about Chip Kelly,
you
had me throw out there. I'm talking, Molly. I gotta get on him right now. I can't believe that you sit up there and you can say that nonsensical stuff you just spewed out of your mouth. Tim Tebow, excuse me, they were raving about him. He improved his mechanics and his throwing motion. Once again, we have further evidence that he's not a quarterback. Why? Because high school quarterbacks don't have people talking about their mechanics and their throwing motion. You know why, Skip Bayless? Because it's assumed that when you play the position, that comes with it. It's the first thing you should have. So the fact that Tim Tebow is going through high school, won 2 national championships in college, went to the pros, won a playoff game, and in 2015, we're still sitting here talking and praising him for his throwing motion and his mechanics. You know what I'm waiting for next? What are we going to praise him for next? The kind of damn cereal he eats for breakfast? I don't want to hear that. The fact of the matter is he looked good in his last preseason game. And you know why it's such a big deal? Because it was a damn aberration. That's why. Because he's Tim Tebow. He can't throw. It's that simple. I like him. He's my friend.
Did you watch him in the last game?
I want him to come. I want him to come back and work for the SEC with ESPN. I want him to make some money in television. He's a beautiful human being. And if he stays in football, maybe, just maybe, if Tim Tebow wasn't as pig-headed as Skip Bayless, can't deviate, can't move around, can't adjust, can't understand that you can't play quarterback. Maybe you should be a tight end. Maybe you should be a running back. Maybe you should be on special teams. Maybe you should be a third down specialist. Damn it, maybe you should learn to play defense. Just don't throw the football because that's not what you do, especially when you can't read defenses half the time. That's his problem. But you don't want to go there. Instead, you want to sit there and get on Chip Kelly for backstabbing him?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Not backstabbing.
That's the word you used.
That's
the word you used.
I did not use back. I said he kicked him in the butt as he walked out the door.
Hold it.
That's what he did. Tim's walking out the back door and he kicked him right in the butt.
Do we need to rewind the tape? Because
I did not use backstab. I don't need to use backstab.
That's what I thought I heard.
You backstab people you have respect for.
Well, listen. Well, you basically feel he didn't have respect, but he once did have respect, which is why you called it backstabbing. Rewind the tape and you remember what you heard. In the end, I have to sit here. You put me in a position where I have to come to.
I thought it was a beautiful move.
This is the lowest.
I'm the defense lawyer over here.
As low as you have gone. You put me in a position where I have to come to the defense of Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly did nothing wrong here. He gave the guy a chance. He put him out there on the field. He gave him an opportunity to perform. He wasn't up to snuff. He wasn't up to snuff, which is why you are telling him to go to Canada. You want him to leave the country, but Chip Kelly's wrong for wanting him to leave Philadelphia? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Chip Kelly did nothing wrong. Tim Tebow needed to go, that is that.
Wait, do you even know who Stephen Morris is?
No, I don't.
No, you don't. That's it. Bingo. I just closed the case.
That's where I'm going. What does it say to you that some dude off of Jacksonville, who we've never heard of, gets signed immediately when Tim Tebow can't? Does it not tell you? I mean, Bill Belichick has said no, okay? Bill Belichick has said no. John Fox has said no. Now you got this situation where Chip Kelly has said no. Rex Ryan sabotaged the man when he didn't have a quarterback. And he still sabotaged Tebow. When will you learn? When will you learn it is over? It is done. He needs to play another position.
John Fox did not say no. He was able to sign Peyton Manning.
He said yes to Peyton Manning.
Well, excuse me.
Well, some people would argue that Tim Tebow has a better QBR rating than even
in the last 5 minutes.
In the last 5. Oh, stop it.
Oh,
Do you understand how ridiculous that sounds?
No, it's just a fact.
Can I ask you both?
He's got me defending Chip Kelly.
Do you think Chip Kelly had any ulterior motives? Do you think he maybe planned on always releasing Tim?
It does not matter. I did not think about it, Molly. I'm not giving it a second thought because Tim Tebow should be here. He should not be playing quarterback for a National Football League team because before he couldn't throw. So now he's improved his throwing motion a little bit in his mechanics, but he still can't read defenses quick enough.
I need you to say this for the record, for tape, for camera.
Sure.
You're saying that it would be a waste of Tim Tebow's time to go play in Canada?
At the quarterback position, yes.
Yeah, we're talking about it. No,
yes.
I'm not talking about playing fullback, okay? I'm talking about quarterback.
Yes.
Okay.
Skip.
He needs to hear this.
Skip.
Keep going. Go ahead. Soliloquy.
He needs to hear it.
Yeah.
Tim Tebow sat down with me. Hold on. Tim Tebow
Go ahead.
Sat down with me for my radio show, Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82, every weekday from 1 to 3 p.m.
Channel
Eastern
82?
Time. 82, it was 85,
You went
now
up
switched
the
to
dial.
82.
Wow.
Switched to 82 August 13th.
All right.
Still never been invited.
Wait a minute. Tim Tebow came, sat with me, and literally looked me in my face afterwards and said, keep your eyes on it. I'm telling you, I've improved my throwing. And I said, we'll see, because he appreciates the fact. I love the guy. I just know he can't throw. And so he says, I've improved. And he did improve. He did improve. My hat's off to him. But we ain't talking about throwing footballs out there in the yard with Skip or Stephen A. We talking about quarterbacking in the NFL. This brother can't do that. Period. Enough.
So
Enough.
that was all just an aberration on that last night. That was.
Yes.
Wait. Maybe it was just a mirage.
Yes.
Maybe I didn't. Maybe I dreamed it. I dreamed it.
Yes.
Oh, he didn't
not
really
that you
do
dreamed
it.
But it was an aberration.
Okay.
Like I told you, a dead clock is right twice a day. It doesn't matter. Whatever you see, it don't get caught up in it. At the end of the day, he can't read defenses quick enough and doesn't have the throwing capability to offset.
So I have one last question.
That's it.
So how did that same guy in 2011 who can't throw take a dead-in-the-water 1-4 team to a division title?
I'm answering that question with a question.
How?
I'm answering that question with a question.
Answer.
Why do you sit there and get to ignore the fact that just a year earlier Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl, but I need to remember how Tim Tebow won one playoff game? Why do I have to remember the one playoff game, but you can't remember a Super Bowl title? How is that? How is that?
Just a year earlier?
Yes,
it was like
2010.
8 years old.
2010.
Come on. That was
2010.
That was a long time ago. That was prehistoric.
Do you understand why? Listen. I know you know your football, but do you understand why sometimes you come across like you should be banned because you sat up there and said that Tim Tebow, you would prefer him in the fourth quarter than Aaron Rodgers?
How did he do that? How did he do it?
Aaron Rodgers?
I'm not in the fourth quarter. He had a better QBR than Aaron Rodgers, who, by the way, is 2-4 in the playoffs since that Super Bowl long ago.
Tim Tebow.
2-4.
Tim Tebow doesn't belong on the same planet as Aaron Rodgers.
You brought it up. I didn't. Did I start it, Molly? No, I didn't start it. You did.
I simply said,
you brought
how do you remember a playoff victory from 2011, but don't remember a Super Bowl title from 2010?
Because we're talking about a guy who you say cannot throw. I say, how did he win all those games in 2011 if he can't throw?
Did he not win
quarterback?
Did he not win one game against the Kansas City Chiefs, completing 2 passes?
Yeah, and one went for the game-winning touchdown
2
to Eric
passes.
Decker.
2. Oh, stop it. It is ridiculous.
Thank you.
You got me defending Chip Kelly. You. This is the lowest of the low.
It was inspired.
Man, go to break. Please, excuse me. I'm sorry. Go to break, Mom. I can't take this, man. Right? I just can't take him right now. You're ridiculous.
Philly's finest. They're back, everybody, in rare form. All right, one of the Williams sisters will be in the semis, but which one? That's the question. Do Serena and Venus get enough love? The guys will debate that coming up.
Put your hands in the air.